Hello and welcome to the show. Sorry, today's episode is also an out and about episode, so expect to hear noise coming in from the background, especially some music from around the neighborhood. And today's episode is not going to be a very coordinated one. It's kind of a rambling one because I just finished a strategy session with one of the Oriflame ladies. Now, if you've been listening to previous podcast episodes, you'd have noted how a couple of people have left comments on the podcast on Spotify. Some of them who are health and wellness professionals from the Oriflame brand, and a couple of them asking questions. So I just had a strategy session with one of them. Her name is Blessing, who is based out of Lagos. And so I figured, let me just make this podcast recording real quick, because if I say I want to sit down, digest my thoughts, and make everything organized, this might be one of those episodes that, will just get lost and never get made. So, so that's it. So what we were trying to achieve right now in the strategy session was this. Blessing says that lots of people hit her up and the conversation goes from high to a very long explanation session where Blessing is trying to educate them on the benefits of the product. And then after that, the session ends with them saying that they can't afford the product or the service. So she's trying to figure out, how do I get out of this jam where I run these advertisements? So somebody says hi, we start chatting for 2-3 hours, and then they say, oh, they're not interested. Now, this is not a trivial matter, because let's face it, if you're chatting with each person, 2 to 3 hours, and then they say they're not interested, and each week you're talking to 4 people, then 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12. So you're looking at 8 to 12 hours that you're talking to people only for them to hear that they are not interested. Now, this is the reason why on the podcast I've always been stressing that our job is not to educate per se, but our job actually is to qualify or disqualify. You're trying to figure out who might be interested. If you're going to hear no, the goal is to hear no as quickly as possible so that you can move time on and invest in other people who might be interested in actually buying your product or your service. So these are some of the things that we looked at in the conversation with Blessing. Now, if you would love to connect either for a strategy session or for a business audit, or because you have a bunch of questions, the number to call is 080-6466-2140. The country code is +234. That's my WhatsApp number as well. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Excuse me. The name to look for is Tavishima Ayede. So we started off the session by looking at the source of the leads, because that also determines how it is that we're going to respond. And so she had been running advertisements on Facebook, and the terms of the advert basically was, the problem statement in the advert was something like, are you struggling with sleep, with low energy, fatigue, general malaise, body weakness, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, the first concern that I had for her was that, that statement is too broad. You're capturing too many people. Because when it comes to advertising, the more targeted that you are, the better. So if you're running an advert that is targeting only people who have sleep-related problems, you're going to see a better performance than if you try to capture people who have sleep and who have low energy and who have weakness and who have body pains and who have, it's getting wide and wide and wider and wider. So, sorry if there are children listening to the podcast. Parents, if you're listening to the podcast and your children are there, this is the point where you tell them to go to the room or you put your headphones on. Now, let's learn from people who sell products for sexual dysfunction. If you notice, people who are selling products for sexual dysfunction on the internet, they don't say, are you suffering from this and this and this and this and that? They just go straight to the point. Are you having problems getting it up? Are you fighting with your wife? Is your girlfriend laughing at you? The problem statement is straight. The goal is that somebody should see the advert and the person should feel like, man, this is me. This thing is targeting me. But anyway, God forbid that, men listening to the program, to the podcast, God forbid that we'll have those problems. But that's the goal. The person should just hear it and know that, this is me. So even if your product can help with sleep and help with energy and help with acne and help with whatever, by advertising all those things is going to be work. But if the advert just says, do you have a problem with chronic acne? Every single babe who sees that advert that has been using, what's this thing called? Skinil on her face, and has been using the white one. What's that white one called? I can't remember. Using all those products, the thing will just catch her attention sharp because it is relating to a problem that she can deal with. So when it comes to advertising, our messaging has to be dialed in. We have to know who it is that we're targeting. And so that's what we try to solve basically with the strategy session. We need to figure out who is it that we're targeting. So I told her, I didn't suggest, but I told her we need to pick a cohort. We need to pick a class. We need to pick a customer segment and then go after that. Is it people who are sleep deprived? Go after them. Is it people who have stress? Go after them. Is it people who have low energy? Go after them. Is it people who have general weakness and body pains? Go after them. So some of them might be related, like maybe stress people and sleep people. Maybe there's some overlap. So the messaging can be, are you struggling with, are you sleep deprived and you struggling with stress? So maybe that one, the messaging can go hand in hand. But don't just throw everything inside. It's too much. Acne is there. Sleep is there. Body pain is there. This is there. It's also the reason why, like those of us who grew up in Lagos, when those guys come on the bus and then they start selling, do you struggle from this, from that, from this? You just tune out. It's kind of noise. But the person who comes and says that, man, on this bus, you have pot belly, your wife is not happy with you, girlfriends are not happy with you, you don't feel like you're a man, something, they start saying all that thing on the bus, and already it catches your attention. I mean, of course, I was in secondary school then, so I didn't have any of those problems, and I still don't, we thank God. But the thing is, if nothing else, it made for entertaining listening, and you were communicating directly to somebody. And always, by the time the guy finishes his presentation, there's always 2 or 3 people in the bus that will say, bros, how much? Well, give me 2. That's because they're being real honed in on their messaging. So if you're having problems with, let's say you're also in this Oriflame space and you're having problems with converting leads from advertising, the messaging, you need to work on that. Then we also had to look at the targeting, because the advertising that she was doing is on Facebook. And when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, it's about demographics and psychographics. When you're advertising on Google and on Bing, it's about keywords, because you're trying to get people who are in the mood to buy something. So it's about keyword research. But then when it comes to Facebook and Instagram and what's the other one? Not Telegram. What's it called? TikTok. So TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. It's about your targeting, your demographics and psychographics. You have to be very clear. You have to tell Zuckerberg that, look, Zucky, I have this thing I'm selling. I want people to buy my Oriflame. Send this advertisement to these people only. So we had to narrow it down. Now for Blessing, the psychographics that she was using, the demographics, was women aged 35 to 60. And in my own opinion, I was like, man, that's broad. I understand that you're trying to capture a lot, but the thing is, the more precise, the better. And let's face it, I mean, with the little that we know in Niger, I mean, like, what does a 35-year-old babe have to do with a 60-year-old woman? Like, the difference in interests and in earning capacity and whatever is broad. So I think that's too broad. And then I asked her that, okay, look, when people go for your Oriflame meeting, like, don't you people discuss customers who buy and stuff like that? And she said, oh, yes, that from the research that they have so far, they know that it's mostly women. So I told her, okay, if you know that it's mostly women, stop this whole thing of targeting men and women. In the advertising, go straight and target women. Lots of people don't want to hear it. But the thing is, when it comes to targeting, the more precise, the more narrow you are, the better. Stop worrying about capturing everybody. The normal posting that you do on social media, the normal content marketing you do, and that one you can try and capture as wide as possible. For advertising, the thing is, you're spending money and you want to get a return on the money. So the more targeted, the better. So if it's mostly women that are buying your product, 80% women, 90% women, please, by all means, target only women. We'll have that conversation later on in another episode. So I told her that she needs to have a conversation with her upline, Oriflame. Have a conversation with your upline and tell them, look, I'm trying to sell this thing. These are the problems that I'm having. I need you guys to help me out with the ICP, with the ideal customer base. So in you people's experience, is women usually like what age, or like usually what location, or let's see what else? Age, location. What did we discuss again for demographics? But you need to know those sorts of things so that if you're going on Facebook, you now just type it there into the ads manager. I don't run ads anymore, but when I used to, I think it was called ads manager. The ads manager, the ad platform, that you just enter it there. Targeting women, 100%. Age range, 55 to 60. Location, Enugu, Port Harcourt, Lagos, Abuja. Targeted, sharp, 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 based on the information that people in her upline give her. So that's what I told her that she needs to do. She needs to do some upline research. Research with her upline so that they can figure out the demographics. Now, demographics are the things that they taught us in primary school. Name, age, sex, location, height, salary, all those sorts of things. Really, really important when it comes to advertising. That is the reason why you won't find any advertising for erectile dysfunction on Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles or on SpongeBob SquarePants. Because the people who watch Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles and SpongeBob SquarePants are children and teenagers don't have those problems, and teenagers don't have that money. So you will only find those kind of advertisements on the adult belt at certain times of the day and on certain kinds of programs. So that's how it works. Advertising, you have to be targeted, whether it's TV or radio or online. The targeted, the better. Then, we now did some research to figure out the psychographics, things that people might be interested in. Now, I keep telling you guys how your tools, the AI tools that you have on your phones, are very, very good research starting off points. And so, from the research that we're able to do, we just came up with one prompt. We're able to find a couple of things that women in this situation might be interested in. Because when you're targeting on Facebook or Instagram, or targeting on TikTok, there's also a space where you have to key in things that these people might be interested in. So we came up with a couple of things. We found health and fitness and exercise. We found family. We found career. There's women who buy these sorts of things. Pills that help with sleep, low energy, weakness, and all this stuff like that. They're usually interested in health and fitness and exercise, in family, in career, in self-improvement, in community, in healthy cooking, mindfulness and meditation, travel and adventure, fashion and style, home decor, yoga, Pilates, dancing, arts and crafts. In fact, those final ones, when I saw it, I was like, okay, that blessing, I hope you can see it now. Because the way she was advertising before, a primary school teacher in the local government can click on it that she's interested. Because of course she's interested and she's having problems with sleep. But is a primary school teacher going to be able to afford supplements that cost upwards of tens of thousands of naira? Sometimes hundreds of thousands of naira? It's not realistic. But then when you put in the psychographics now, people who are interested in yoga and Pilates, of course, yoga and Pilates, that it's not anyhow Nigerian women that are into that sort of stuff. Okay, well, my sister-in-law is interested in all those things, and she's on the youngish end. But you can see that there's people that have a certain kind of how do I put it? A certain kind of worldview and who value certain kinds of things. So that kind of person, if you tell the person that, okay, this pill, this omega-3 acid, this omega whatever, this that comes at the affordable package of 50,000 naira a month, they might say, okay, no problem, 50,000, yeah, and then they buy. So this is why targeting is important. Because if you leave it open, 35 to 60, men or women, blah, blah, the advertisement will now come to me. And for me, I don't give a hoot about this kind of stuff. Or I might be curious and just click on it. And then say hi. And then you try and educate me for 3 hours. And then I say, I'm not interested. The thing is, I never was going to buy in the first place. The targeting was off. So your targeting has to be really, really narrowed down. So other Oriflame people who are listening to this show, and by the way, I'm curious. In the last couple of days, it must be like 4 or 5 Oriflame people that have reached out. So I'm curious. How has my name entered into the Oriflame community? I'm just curious. So, you reach out. Let me know. How'd you guys come across the podcast? And I'm just curious. I want to know how I've entered the Oriflame community now. Then let's see what else. Okay, so summary. With the strategy session I had with Blessing, what she has right now is a targeting problem because she's trying to get leads by running ads. So we need to sort out the advertising problem first and foremost before we can even solve the sales conversion problem. We need to be sure that we're targeting the right people in the first place before we even know whether we have come up with the right framework to have conversations with them. But then one thing that I told her, and I want to stress to you guys listening to the show right now, is when people hit you up, it is not your job to educate. There are some people who think that educating is part of sales, and well, in a sense, yes. But education is not your primary role. Your primary role is to figure out somebody who is interested in the first place. The person who is already interested will have one or two questions and needs to be clarified on one or two things. That is when you do the whole process of education. You don't start educating at the beginning when you don't know if the person is interested in the first place. So that's what I told her. Let's work on the advertising. Let's change the targeting. And then when people hit you up, the first part of your conversation is, oh, thank you very much for reaching out. I can see you responded to our ad. Which product are you interested in, or which problem have you been dealing with? And then just general conversations. Oh, so you're sleep deprived. How long has that been going on? What have you done to try and avoid that in the past? To try and solve that in the past. What worked? What didn't work? So from these general questions, you're now going to be able to figure out if this person has a serious problem, if they've been dealing with it for a very long time, and if they're willing to put money behind it. And because, like I told her, if somebody has a problem with sleep deprivation, and the person has been living with it for 6 years, and the person has not done anything, I can assure you it's not today that the person is going to try and do something. It's not. If the person thought it was a problem, the person would have started trying to solve it 6 years ago. But if you talk to someone, on the other hand, and the person has this problem, it's been happening to her for the last 3 or 5 months, and in 3 or 5 months, she has spoken to a native doctor, she has gone to her medical doctor, she has seen a cardiologist, and she's trying to go to bed at 8 p.m. every day. This person is motivated and is trying to solve a problem. You would have a much more fruitful conversation with that person who has actually done something in the past to try and solve the problem than somebody who has been living with it for 6 years, 8 years, 10 years and has done nothing. And I know that because I'm speaking from experience. Apparently, I've been snoring since I was in university. So I've been snoring since I was 18. But to be honest, since 18 till now, I haven't done anything. I haven't gone to see a doctor. I haven't done nothing. So the chances that someone like me is motivated enough to buy your product or to do your remedy, the chances are it's very slim. But then there are some people who find out today that, so me, I'm snoring. Hey, God forbid. And then they're running all over the place, seeing sleep specialists, seeing this, seeing that. Those are the people that you need to be running after. So get your targeting down correct and precise. This is advertising here. Just get the targeting down and be precise. And then stop trying to educate people. Instead, spend your time trying to figure out who is interested. Whoever it is that is interested, spend your time educating them, explaining all the whatever. And always remember that you always have to gain an advancement. So that, okay, if you don't have any questions, then the next step for us to begin is we have a trial sample that is available for 50,000 naira or for whatever. When would you like to begin your treatment period? When would you like to begin your speak to people in your upline. They will tell you what the effective closing are. Oh, and by the way, now I hope you guys begin to appreciate when I say on the podcast that there's a difference between multi-level marketing and what's going on in Nigeria. So Oriflame, this is multi-level marketing. You can see that they have a product that they're selling. They're taking people and teaching people how to sell the product so that you can become a distributor or a whatever it is that they're called, consultant, distributor or whatever. It is not like other people, like Tianchi, for instance. When I was a kid, that's the one that we caught then in the 80s, Tianchi. So it's not like Tianchi where they say, okay, buy this one and be part of my downline. Buy this one, be part of my downline. Buy this one, be part of my... Everybody just buying. And somehow you think that just by joining a downline, everybody will become a millionaire. But if there's a genuine product that people are selling, they're teaching you to be a distributor, they're giving you training support, that giving you sales and advertising support and things like that, those are the kind of things that you should pursue. But if it's Tianchi them and they're calling you and they say, join my downline, please run. It's not going to end up anywhere. Oh, and by the way, these kinds of businesses is not for everybody. So caveat emptor, buyer beware. attend a couple of meetings, talk to a couple of people who are already in the business, try and figure out if this is the sort of business for you, because it's not for everyone. Let me just put it that way. So that's all for today. Remember, if you'd love to connect with me for a strategy session, for a business audit, or because you have a bunch of questions, the phone number is 080-6466-2140. The country code is +234. The name to look for on LinkedIn if you want to connect is Tavishima Ayede. And a whole bunch of my stuff is available on YouTube as well, just in case you don't like Spotify. So thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.